I'm too fat to safely ride in a Waymo, and you might be too. It's your favorite queer automotive educator, and recently, my wife and I took our first spin in the self-driving rideshare service.
Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about someone new that we haven't talked about before. This is who we're going to be talking about, Mechanic Shop Femme. And they go on to say in their bio, they are an auto educator and journalist, Cars Plus Travel, empowering and educating car owners and inspiring fat folks to travel. No DIY. Now, this person's name is Chaya, I believe, and I feel like they are a perfect representation of the best intentions that can start off pretty positive and I feel are almost necessary and can be very, very beneficial for people to once you start getting a certain level of attention, when those things can be, you can get kind of lost in the sauce and you can start making demands and saying things that are a little out of this world that are just, you start really positively and things that make a lot of sense, and then things just get way out of hand. So with that being said, let's get into some of the videos that we're going to be looking at. This first TikTok we are going to be going over tells a little bit about her story, which I think is important, but it also shares that she has basically just released a book. Now, we're going to be kind of going back and forth time-wise. So this was released in 2023. And she's talking about a book that she released that she has written, right? And so let's go ahead and see what she has to say here.
After aging out of the foster care system, I desperately looked for a job, any job, without much luck, when a kind stranger saw my GoFundMe.
So the first thing that I see there, right, is that she was in the foster care system. And as someone that, you know, myself was in the foster care system, albeit for a very short period of time, I understand that that's, you know, it's a lot to overcome, especially if you're aging out of the foster care system. That means you were probably in it for an extended period of time. You know, for me, I was in it for a little bit, and then I ended up getting kind of adopted by an uncle for about a year, and then we were put back with our mom. And so it wasn't, you know, it could have been a lot worse, right? And so clearly she has had to do a lot of things for herself. She is clearly resourceful. She is someone that, you know, is smart, is someone that is able to, you know, be able to do things for herself. And I think that there's anyone that says anything otherwise, I would have to disagree. I think that there are a lot of positive things in this video and a lot of positives that probably helped her get her career off the ground, because she is someone that is different in the automotive industry that can really speak to a lot of people that maybe didn't have a dad around, right? Like for me, it is a sense of, it's a thing that has a source of embarrassment, because, you know, when you're a dude and you don't understand cars, it's like almost embarrassing, right? And I can only imagine being a woman or being someone that traditionally isn't seen to know much about cars and feel like you don't have anyone to rely on, and then going into an automotive, you know, a mechanic shop and feeling like you might be getting taken advantage of. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of mechanics that are great people that aren't doing that, right? I'm sure that happens, but I'm sure that, you know, the opposite happens as well. And so having someone that maybe, you know, looks like you, is a woman or is gay, and like you feel like you can relate to that, I genuinely think that that's a good thing. I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. And so this, like I said, this TikTok, I think is a really positive thing. And what she shares, her story of how she got started and the way that she can help people, I think is very powerful.
Helped me get a job at Sears Auto Center and a driver's license, completely changing the trajectory of my life. Hi, I'm Kaya, your favorite queer automotive educator, and this video is a decade in the making. Despite everything I faced and the tears I shed as a queer fat woman in the automotive industry, I fell in love with helping people with their cars and soon started Mechanic Shop Femme. While I didn't set out to be a change maker or even to make waves, just simply to survive, I quickly realized that creating an intentional space where gatekeeping and car bro culture wasn't the norm was my calling.
And I think that that's great. Like I said, I think that that's a very positive thing.
A year ago, I secretly signed a book deal with a Big Five publisher and spent countless hours writing and editing some more. I am humbled and overjoyed to announce my first book, Mechanic Shop Femme's Guide to Car Ownership. For $20, you'll learn about buying a car insurance, finding a mechanic, maintaining your car, electric vehicles, and so much more. Please pre-order your copy right now using the links in my bio.
Now, so is this something that I myself would purchase? No, I don't think that it's made for me, but I can still, personally, I feel like I can still see why people could find that useful. I'm sure people have noticed that when she's kind of explaining what she does, she uses the term fat a lot. And so I think that where I start to really draw the line and where I start to disagree with stuff like this and other stuff that we talked about is when fat is used the same way as maybe queer or like woman would be used, right? It's like this trait that there's nothing you can do about. Now, obviously, I disagree with that. I think there is something that you can do about. And if your size is starting to make your life significantly harder, instead of just looking on the outside of all of these things that are making it harder for me because I am fat, I think that there is something important and something that we should do is look inward and think to ourselves, okay, my size is starting to become a serious issue and it's making life harder for me. Maybe there's something that I can do to, one, improve the quality of my life, but hopefully live longer and just be healthier and happier in the body that I am in, right? It seems that that's obviously somewhere where we very much so disagree. So speaking about that, this TikTok was uploaded in 2021 and it's a response to this. It says, I love seeing you lift your belly and place the seatbelt properly. So many folks don't and it's so dangerous. You go girl, right? So she's giving advice on how to place a seatbelt if you are bigger. And again, even with this, I don't necessarily disagree with what's being said here, and this information is good for someone that might be in that position. And I think you'll see between this TikTok and the next video we are going to talk about where there seems to be a bit of a shift in my opinion. But let's go ahead and watch this one.
Grit Back Queer Automotive Educator coming to you today with some safety tips for bigger drivers like me. Does your belly touch your steering wheel while you're driving? The center of your steering wheel is an airbag. If in an accident, it could really hurt you.
Again, yes, that's true. Good advice.
Move away from it if you can. Some steering wheels can be adjusted too. Find a position that's safe to drive in as far away from your belly as possible. Seatbelts should be worn across your hips. Push the belt as far down as you can under your belly if possible. If your seatbelt doesn't fit, get an extender from the dealer or Seatbelt Extender Pros. Leave a thumbs up in the comments if you learned something new, and don't forget.
So again, I think this video is very much so sharing information to hopefully help people in the future, right? Help people that are watching this video. This next one we are going to be going over, I think, is a little bit different. It shares some frustrations that she has, but instead of just offering things that you can maybe do yourself, there's this call to action where I just think it's a little bit different. I don't want to spoil it, so let's get into this video. This is the video right here. Now, this is on Instagram, and she is with her fiance or wife. I think they're actually married, and she's complaining about not being able to fit into a Waymo, which is like a self-driving Uber, basically, while she's on vacation, right? And so it goes on to say in the description of this video, there is an easy fix for this, Waymo. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had problems with the seatbelts. Please make your service accessible to people in larger bodies. My full thoughts on the experience, aside from the seatbelts, are coming soon in another video. Have you taken a Waymo? Did the seatbelt fit? What did you think of the whole experience? If the manufacturer of your vehicle doesn't make seatbelt extenders, you can buy one from, at Seatbelt Extender Pros. I'm assuming that there's some sort of kickback there because she's mentioned it in basically every single video that she's posted, but let's go ahead and watch this.
I'm too fat to safely ride in a Waymo, and you might be too. It's your favorite queer automotive educator, and recently, my wife and I took our first spin in the self-driving rideshare service.
So the first thing that's interesting is it's felt like all the other posts were very down to earth and like things that a lot of people can relate to. I don't know how many people are taking Waymos. Like this definitely feels like a problem that not that many people are facing. And so it almost feels like intentionally looking for something to be upset about so you can complain about it, versus a lot of the other videos which felt very down to earth and like something that most people could relate to, right?
I had concerns, but was cautiously optimistic about the experience. After loading up our suitcases and getting comfortable, I buckled my seatbelt. No way I was riding in a futuristic self-driving machine without it.
So again, it feels like this feels very intentional, like this was expected, and so let's film the whole experience so we can make this video and be upset on social media and post it on social media, right? It's like it's one of those things that with social media, once you start garnering a following, it's almost like every decision that you're making is for that specific reason, to make a video. And this feels very much so like it is purposeful, right?
And bam, the seatbelt clicked and immediately locked. Okay, it happens. Let me try again. Removing my seatbelt instantly made the car scream at me. But I had to. The seatbelt locked yet again almost instantly. Damn it. And before you think I'm the problem, we're just too damn fat for this car, the seatbelt locked on my smaller wife too.
So that doesn't seem like it's if it locked on your smaller wife as well, this seems to be maybe just an issue with the cutting edge of technology that you are dealing with here, right? Like you are dealing with a self-driving Uber car that has there's no one in the driver's seat. There's no one driving, right? And so like to not expect that there are going to be bugs that just happen is a little ridiculous. I think this seems like it's maybe just a bug that happens, and to immediately, instead of be like, man, this is clearly there's a lot of things that need to be, ironed out. There's a lot of fixes that need to happen. It's like, oh my God, this is because I am fat. And then on top of that, where I get frustrated is there's no accountability of like, maybe losing some weight would be useful in this situation, or if I was smaller, it would be more helpful. It's like all of these things need to change, and there's no self-acceptance of like, maybe this is something that I could change about myself. And that's where I just really, really disagree with this type of thinking. For me, I feel like a lot of where this started could have been really, really helpful, and still can be really, really helpful for, lots of people that are maybe uncomfortable with dealing with their car, or, just don't feel like they know much. I feel like this person can certainly help them out. And I think that that's important. And I think it's good that they are doing that. I think that going down this road and focusing on these things where not that many people are going to be dealing with these Waymo cars, and trying to make this turn into some huge, crusade that you want to lead up against changing all of these things that, maybe don't need to be changed, and not that many people are going to agree with you. I feel like you're going to end up spinning your wheels and not helping as many people as you could be. And I assume that that is your goal, is to help as many people as possible. And I can guarantee you there are not that many people that are, one, incredibly overweight, and two, deciding they want to travel in a Waymo car that has no driver. I just don't feel like this is the road you go down if you're wanting to help as many people. It feels like to me this is the road you go down if you want to make the most viral video and, maybe cause the most uproar. But that doesn't always equal helping the most amount of people. I think the best example I can think about is someone that we have talked about on the channel quite a bit, the whole J-Base situation, where, she went incredibly viral with the whole, flight situation, trying to get people, have people sign this thing to get bigger seats or whatever. But if we look at the actual impact that's happened, if we look at her GoFundMe, or we look at her, thing that she's having people sign, there was a very small amount of money raised in the GoFundMe, and a very small amount of people that have actually signed that petition, right? And so, like, I think that there's things that she could do to actually help a larger amount of people, and I think that there's stuff that the Mechanic Shop Femme could do that would end up helping a larger amount of people than focusing on these really small things that really end up being maybe viral, but not viral for anything positive. If you look at the comments on this reel on TikTok, the majority of people are not agreeing with what she's saying, and they're not the nicest comments, because it's Instagram Reels, people aren't the nicest there. And so I just don't feel like this is the best way that you go about helping the most amount of people possible. But again, that's just how I feel. I would love to know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, a thumbs up really helps out a lot, as well as to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.